Hey folks, how you doing? This is a video on how to wash your bottles after you've been using them. I get asked this a bunch of times, so I thought, I normally got to type it out and tell people how I do it. So I thought I'd just show you. Now, it might not be the right way, it might not be a good way, you might just want to throw the plastic ones out, they're pretty cheap, and buy a whole bunch more. But for me, I just like to clean them out and reuse them. You know, I've got some good glass ones in there. I've got some older ones, and what'll happen is after I clean them out, if they're a little bit off color, I'll throw them out. If they smell a little bit, I'll throw them out. But all in all, I probably get 99% of them back. So and it doesn't take too long. So here's my box of bottles. So you can see there's all sorts of different shapes and sizes, unicorn bottles, glass bottles, some of these things. February 12th, you know, I just found this in a drawer steeping. Twister ice cream, still smells pretty good actually. But there's a lot of them, you know, I make so many different flavors for the channels. A lot of them, I say a lot of them, some of them ain't worth a shit. Some of them are okay, but I just don't think they're good enough to pass on, but that's my tastes. And then some of them I think are great, and I pass them on to you folks. So I've constantly got tons of bottles. Anyway, this is going to be our cleanup. I've got double sinks. If you just got a single sink, you'll have to break this down into two parts. You'll have to get all the liquid out of the bottles first, rinse them out, you know, and get them so there's no liquid left in the bottles, and then do the second stage. But I'm going to do both stages at the same time. So okay, well, we'll get into it. I'll move the camera. Okay folks, alright, here we have two sinks. They look pretty clean. They are pretty clean because I cleaned them just a second ago, and then I thought I'd better do this video. But what I do, I've used it in America, Clorox, which is cleaning bleach. I'll spray this in both sinks, so I'll go around, spray it all the way around, down in the plug hole. Okay, and then I'll get my pan brush, which someone will say, oh, that's dirty, you clean pots and pans with it. Well, by the time I got this fucking bleach on there, it isn't. So, and it's already been bleach cleaned as well. So get every single surface inside the plug hole, because you're bound to lose a top down in there or something and have to fish it out. So make contact with every bit. And like I said before, if you've just got one sink, then obviously just prep that one. Alright, this one has been pre-cleaned, but you kind of get the gist of it. Now just wash the excess off of there. Now obviously if you don't have a sprayer like this, then you'll have to do it hand with a brush or that, with a scrubbing pad or a brush. But because I got the sprayer, I can get rid of this pretty quick. And you're left with a pretty clean sink, which my wife will really like. She likes it when I clean bottles out because the sink becomes real clean afterwards. So I'm in her good books. Okay, next thing, I need the plug bunged up in one of them. So we will go ahead and find where that is. One of them don't work very well. I'm hoping this is the one that does work good. I can't see the other one. Oh, sorry. Alright, so we'll plug one up. If we can get it. Maybe I need to put some hair around it. There we go. Okay, and just normal washing up liquid, if I can find that, which is right here. So just dishwasher detergent. Not dishwasher, sorry, hand washing, dishwashing detergent. And you give that a good squirt. Okay, and let that fill up. I'll come back in a second. Okay, we've got a sink full of soapy water. We've got an empty sink, and we've got some bottles. So first thing, I'll get the label off of them. Now this is put on with the label maker, so they come off really easy. If you want to know which label maker I use, it's in the description below this video, as is everything else I use. And actually, this one's been, these have been on here for a long time. They're a little bit harder, but you can see it's not that bad. Okay, and then I'll just take the lid off, throw it in the soapy water, take the alright, and just give it a squeeze down the plug hole and just leave it in there on its side just to drain out any excess. And then the same with this one. You don't have to be real perfect with that because we will rinse them in a bit. Then we got some bigger ones with older labels on. Now, if you can't get your labels off, then don't worry too much, just leave them on there. That won't come off real easy. But if you get those ones that are a pain in the ass to get off, don't worry about it too much. Tear off what you can and then throw it in the hot soapy water, and then after they've been soaking, they come off real easy. And once you give them a rinse off, then they're no problem. Just watch them get inside the bottle. This is one of the worst bits, is getting... Now this juice in here, I found it in a cupboard, and I think it's like 1.5 years old. It really doesn't really smell of much like it would have. Alright, and then my glass bottles. Okay, looks like the label's harder on the glass bottles, because I've not done many glass bottles before. I've only got them recently, and it's just something I use when I put something together that I think's going to be good, or it is good, and I'm making it for myself. I like to put it in a glass bottle. Okay, this one obviously wasn't that good, but because it's got that there, we want to get as much of that out as possible. I'll give it a few squeezes underneath the running water, give it a shake out, and then just dump it in there. And then obviously this is not going to come out as well, and I'll just leave it on its side, let it drain in there. Have I got any different ones? Unicorn bottles, really much the same, except getting these tips off are a pain in the butt. On the little 10mm plastic ones, oh that's why, because I'm putting it in the wrong place. This is the Liquid Barn unicorn bottles, which are my favourite. Okay, same thing, turn it upside down, there's not a lot in there, just give it a squeeze. Okay, like I said, you've got the little 10mm bottles. These are normally the easiest, and I got tons of them, 10s and 15s. See, they come off so much easier. Just give them a squirt. Okay, well I'm going to carry on with that, and then I'll come back and we'll look at the actual washing out process. So see you in a bit. Okay folks, we're back again after a few minutes. This is just part of them. I've not even made a dent on this yet. So it's probably going to take me an hour to empty the juice out of there and get the labels off. But what I do is, once I've got them all in here, and sometimes I'll do it in phases like I'm going to do now, I'll get this running hot. And you can see that most of the juice is out of them. And then I'll just fill it up, squeeze it out, do that twice, throw it into the sink, throw it into the soapy water. Like I said, if you've only got one sink, then you might just want to do this and throw them in a bucket, and then once you're finished with it all, then fill the sink up with soapy water and then put them in there to soak. One good thing is it smells real good. It's not one of those nasty jobs. And once you get into the swing of this, it doesn't take that long, and you do forget to take the labels off of some of them. It's just repetitive stuff, but sometimes you do forget. That one's coming off a little harder because it's got wet. Now this one's got an old label on it that I couldn't get off. So I'm going to let it soak, and once it's soaked I should be able to get the label off afterwards. That one smells good. It smells like it's got coconut or something in it. And the glass one, same thing. Just give them twice. Throw them into the soapy water. Unicorn bottles. That smelled like pina colada or something in there. Alright, now just say we've got them done. We're at the very end when I've got every single bottle in this sink. What I do then is I get my hands in here, hold them under the water and squeeze the air out. And just keep on finding more bottles, squeeze the air out. What this will do, it'll help the bottle to sink and get water inside it to soak. And you just keep on going until you've got none left on the surface. Oh, or squirt it all over yourself. And you just keep on finding them. And then rather than them bobbing around on the top with air in them and not soaking, you'll have them under the water with water inside them. Obviously the glass ones are pretty easy. Glass ones are sat on the bottom. I think that's about it. And you'll have all the caps and everything floating on the top. Okay, there's that stage, and then I'd leave them anywhere up to 4 or 5 hours just sat there soaking. So we're going to come back a lot later and finish this off. Okay, folks, the bottles have been soaking in the sink now for about 4 hours, so they should be nice and clean. I've already got the water running hot, so we're going to start taking the bottles out, just rinsing them under the hot water and then putting them out on a tissue. And what I do is shake them out. I don't normally turn the water off, but I have now so you can hear what I'm saying. But when I put them upside down on the tissue, if you stick them together, they will actually hold each other up. And you can do that with quite a few of them, and then but if you don't get it right, you knock them all down. But it will hold quite a few of them. I'll try and stay with the same 15ml bottles. As you can see, they're all sunk, where I've got all the air out of them. All we're doing is just rinsing the soap suds out and whatever else may be caught in there. Actually, we can do any size bottle, I think. And then sometimes it doesn't always work. You don't have to stack them up. You can just dump them on their sides and let them air dry. They just take a little longer to dry. But I'll come back with this video once I've got all the bottles cleaned, and then we'll do the caps and the nozzles. Hi folks, we've got all the bottles out. They're drying on the side now. You've got to deal with the lids and the tips. So we just grab them up and put them inside a colander. And near enough all of them are floating. I would estimate there's a good probably 300 bottles of just, well, maybe 200 bottles I've just done. Okay, let me just get the last couple out. You never get them all, there's normally one left in the bottom. Once you get to this stage, you can go ahead and pull the plug out. Just sift through and grab the odd one. Okay, so these have got soap suds on them, so you need to get that off. So I use the rinsing head. Now all these are child-proof locks on the caps, or child-proof caps, so the water gets inside them, the suds get inside them. You're going to really have to give them a real good rinse off. And then you want to do that for probably 10-20 minutes, give it just a really good rinsing and get all the soap suds out. Alright, so I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we've swilled these out now for a good 10 minutes. They're obviously very wet, but I give them a good shake in here. Now, what I do is get a big Ziploc bag. I'll put a tissue in the bottom. And then I'll grab these just one at a time and really give them a hard shake. Because they're child-proof caps, they really do hold the water. So you've got to give them a good shake, plus the tips get caught in the caps, and we want to do them separate. So just make sure that everyone gets shook out. And once you've done it, and you've got them all, then you want to put some more tissue in there just to absorb any extra water, which I'll come back and show you that in a few minutes. Hi folks, once you've got the bag filled up like this with your lids, go ahead and put a couple more pieces of tissue in there. Just kind of wiggle it around a little bit, and then seal the top. Just give them a shake around, and then just leave them in there for a couple of days, and then take the 3 pieces of tissue out and replace them with another 3, just to get any water out. Now we're left with the tips. I'll get another bag, get a smaller bag this time. Again, with a piece of tissue, I think I'll only need 1 piece. And I will replace this one after 3 days as well. Try and get this in here without spilling them everywhere. Okay, I think we got them all. Same thing, seal it up. These are a lot wetter. I might put another piece of tissue in there. Oh, and actually, with the tips, I also want the droppers, which I rinsed out separately under water to get all the stuff out from the needles. Okay, so we have a bag of tips and droppers, and then once these are dried out, I'll actually put the droppers back on their bottles. But I'll leave them in there for a couple of days. Now the bottles themselves, going to need a lot of tissue, probably about 4 pieces. Alright, sorry about that back, I had to change the battery in the camera. But okay, going back to the bottles. All the bottles 15 ml and over, I'll put in one bag. I'll put the glass in first, just so I don't drop anything and smash it. Okay, then I'll just sieve through them. Unicorn bottles, and most of them are 30 ml bottles. There's a few that are bigger. They're they're still a bit damp. We done these like an hour or so ago, and I'll just drop one. There it is. It was about an hour or so ago, so they're not real dry as they could be. Sometimes I'll leave them overnight. But I just want to go ahead and get this packed up. We got other stuff we need the kitchen for. And I'll just put some extra tissues in here. I'm going to keep this rolling while I do this. You see, it's a lot of bottles. I don't know why I make so many 30 mils, just to throw most of them away, but there's some recipes I do which I feel I'll be using a lot, especially like the strawberry and cream ones. Even if they're not spot on the what I want, I can still use them and enjoy them. So I tend to make 30 mil of stuff like that rather than 10 or 15. And if I'm cloning or something like that, normally I do 10s. Okay, so I think that's all the 15s and above out. That bottle there is just off colour, so I'm going to throw that one. And then we're going to put in the tissue. going to kind of just put it in kind of little balls, not scrunched up too much obviously, so we want it open so it can collect moisture. And then we're just going to do the top of the bag up again 3 or 4 days, and then take it out, put fresh tissue in there. And now for the rest of them. Oh, we did find a unicorn, another one. Always do. And these are 10s and 15s. I'm not too worried about having these mixed. And I have ones that I've washed upstairs. I've probably still got 100 or so upstairs that were washed a few months ago. And I have brand new ones, not many, but I still have new ones. So I normally try and get these washes so that they can be up there for about a month drying off before I actually need them. And you might go make sure that they're rinsed really good. I showed you a bit of the rinsing, but I put quite a lot of soap in this one, and it took a lot of rinsing out, so I had to rinse the bottles 3 or 4 times instead of just twice like I normally do. But you've got to make sure the soap suds are right. Okay, there's that one. Again, 4 pieces of kitchen towel. Just lightly ball it up and just rummage in there. Okay, and that there is job done. So we got our 10s and 15s, our 30s and above, the tips and the needle, the droppers off of everything, and the lids off of everything. You can see, look, it's starting to condensate in there a little bit because they're childproof caps. They've got little voids in there which catch the water, and as I'm cleaning them out, I'll pick them up and I'll flick them off like that before I put them in the bag. But you don't get everything out, so that's why the tissue gets most of it. And that's it. Sink's clean, and that's it until they get filled again, and I'll redo them. But not all of them can be redone. Let's put this back up here. Not all of them can be redone. Obviously, there's going to be some that are discolored, like this one. I don't think you'll see it on camera, but there's a nice clear one, clean. And this one's just got like a yellow tinge to it, which this one is going to be thrown out. And you'll notice when they are. And it's even got a slight smell to it as well. So there's probably one that's been sat there. I did have one from January, so that doesn't help. But anyway, that's how I clean my bottles out. Some of you may do it differently, but when you've got 200 or 300 of them, you've got to do something like this. And I'm not going to put them all through an ultrasonic cleaner. So anyway, that's it until the next one. I'll catch you soon.